JavaScript in ForNAV can be a little bit like a shark, mostly hidden beneath the surface and terrifying. It's also incredibly efficient at what it does, absolutely essential in a healthy ecosystem, and mostly harmless when understood and handled with care and respect. In this lesson, we will have a peek at what JavaScript can do and how and where you can use it. I will show you that JavaScript is about as easy to use as a simple pocket calculator. In the next lessons, we will dive deeper underwater to observe JavaScript in its natural habitat. We will discuss conditions, dynamic changes to your layouts, storing and sorting through data, and much more. But for now, the basics. The first thing we're going to do in JavaScript basics, and pretty much the most basic thing we can do in JavaScript inside ForNAV, is string bits of text together. So we might have the curly report caption to which we want to add some text and which we want to add the header number. This is something that's already a standard feature in the ForNAV standard reports. So I'm just going to go to my ForNAV designer. I've already loaded my sales template in here. In my sales template, you notice that in this text box, if I drill down into my JavaScript editor, you'll find that we have the curly report caption, which is the caption friendly name of this particular report, and we have the header.number, which is going to be the header of the number of the sales invoice header, and we string them together with a little bit of text. And when we preview this, we get sales template with the colon 103.001, which is the number. So that's one of the most basic things that we can do. We can make this a bit easier and a bit more user-friendly if you want to, because you don't need to add the plus signs in here everywhere. What we can do in the most recent release of ForNAV is we can use these separate type brackets, and that will be the entire text. And that says everything inside those brackets JavaScript is going to display as normal text. Now, if we want to add variables in here, we can type $, curly bracket open, curly bracket close, and everything inside the $, curly bracket open, curly bracket close is going to be the JavaScript variable. Then of course I can delete all of the plus stuff and once again do the $, curly bracket open, and at the end curly bracket close. And that's going to do the same thing, only in here I don't need to string all of my text together with plus signs. I can just type plain text in here, and everything that's inside these $ curly bracket things are going to be the JavaScript variables, so the data from my dataset in this case, and everything that isn't is going to be plain text. And if you hit OK in preview, that is going to be exactly what is going to be displayed. We can take this stringing bits of text together a bit further, because ForNAV have added a function called join strings. And the function join strings joins a bunch of strings together, joins a bunch of text together with a separator. And let's go to our ForNAV designer. I'm just going to grab a new text box, make it a bit bigger. I will grab my source expression in the JavaScript editor, and let's paste this join strings that I've had in the PowerPoint in here. You will notice that we do curly report join strings with a \n, and a \n inside JavaScript is going to give us a new line. And then we've got the company information field extensions, bank account number, registration number, and VAT registration number. And the nice thing about these field extensions is that they're going to return an empty string when the field is empty. So I'm not going to end up with a caption and nothing. It's going to return an empty string. And a join strings will join every string in here together that is not an empty string. So if there's an empty string in here, it will just ignore it. And that's going to look, if we preview it, like this. You will notice in my join strings I've got my bank account number and I've got my VAT registration number. I don't have my company registration number because that isn't filled in the standard database that I'm using. Now I said ForNAV will string these texts together with a separator that you decide on yourself. I used \n so far. \n, like I said, is a new line. But I can also use space, hit OK and preview my report. And then instead of the new line, ForNAV is going to string these texts together with the space character that I've defined in my JavaScript text box. The next thing in the JavaScript basics is calculations. You can use JavaScript inside ForNAV as a glorified calculator, and really ForNAV JavaScript is not much more difficult to use than a simple calculator, because you can just add, subtract, multiply and divide. And of course, JavaScript being JavaScript, it's got some more advanced stuff as well, like exponentiation, modulus, increment and decrement. This list is sourced from W3 Schools, which we recommend as a training resource for those of you who want to have a deeper knowledge of JavaScript and arithmetic inside JavaScript. So let's go and have a look at our standard report. Now the nice thing about standard reports is that they come with a ton of stuff already built in. One of them is a bit of arithmetic, which is really simple because we want to calculate the VAT amount of this invoice, and unfortunately we don't have a VAT amount inside our database. We've got a field for the amount including VAT, and we've got a field for the amount which is the amount ex VAT. So if we want to get the VAT amount, we need to do some arithmetic. We need to subtract the header amount from the amount including VAT. So that's as simple as a bit of arithmetic inside a ForNAV report goes, and like I said, not much more complicated than your common calculator. So the next thing we want to talk about is error handling. Of course, whenever you start scripting, you might make some mistakes, and how do you figure out what you did wrong, why you did it wrong, and how to fix it. So the first thing that we have, of course, is we have our JavaScript editor. And if I look at the JavaScript editor, at the moment everything looks fine. I don't have anything that indicates any errors, and of course I don't. This is the standard report and I know it works. But if I do make an error, if I use the field header.amount without the T, ForNAV will tell me that I'm doing something wrong, and it will tell me by underlining this bit of text with the red curly stuff. And if I hover over it, it says the property amount does not exist on type of header. So you can fix that. It's going to be the amount. At some point you may do something wrong without actually noticing it. If I remove the minus sign, ForNAV will tell me semicolon was expected. This doesn't work. ForNAV expects this to be a new line inside JavaScript. But if I actually preview this with the error message, you will notice that I can preview my report. I don't get any errors when I run the report, but if I do preview it, you will notice that my calculation, my VAT amount, isn't calculated, but instead ForNAV says error. And whenever you get an error inside a ForNAV report, you can scroll down into the final page, and ForNAV will add a final page with a ForNAV error report. And you will see that on data item line, in the section lines footer, in the control report caption 8, in the property source expression, we have the value amount including VAT header.amount, and it will say unexpected identifier. So I know that there's something wrong inside this bit of my ForNAV report. And if I go to the ForNAV report, of course you can find exactly that specific text box by going to the lines footer, go report caption 8, and it's in the source expression we notice. So I drill down into my source expression, and I notice there's something wrong here because I've removed the minus sign. I add the minus sign, my red curly stuff goes away, and everything works again. This of course is only the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with JavaScript in ForNAV. In our ForNAV e-learning course we will go much deeper. We will cover conditional formatting of data, dynamic changes of your report layouts, functions and much more. You can find the ForNAV e-learning module on learn.redandbundle.com.